The Princess. The second story. Next day, the princess met the nanny and asked her why she was hiding the girl. The nanny explained,
"The king has decided to wed his daughter to her cousin, but she is deeply in love with the son of the prime minister. I've been hiding her because she asks me to. She hopes her cousin will marry another girl and will forget her after a while." The princess said, "Allow me to find a solution." Then she went to the king of the eastern land and encouraged him to announce that he would marry her daughter to the man who could find her. Late that night, the princess took the king's daughter to a place that no one knew. Her arms and legs were tied to a pillar, and her eyes were covered. The prime minister's son and his friends found her as they searched. The king kept his promise. The princess of the eastern land and the prime minister's son got married and made a merry feast for a whole week. Now, the princess was on her way to yet another land. This time, she was carrying with her 2 king's letters that proposed a friendly relationship with the land she would visit. The princess went to a faraway land in the south. The king of the southern land greeted the princess, and he invited the princess to his daughter's wedding. The princess asked, "Who is your princess's bridegroom?" The king said,
"I don't know. I would marry her to the winner of a hunting competition that I have arranged."
The princess said to the king,
"It sounds really interesting. I'll certainly be there."
Then she went to the hunting ground because she wanted to know more about the men who hoped to marry the princess of that land. At the hunting ground, a handsome young man greeted the princess. The young man was a son of the king's gamekeeper. The princess asked the young man,
"Do you also want to enter the hunting contest and try your luck at marrying the princess?"
The young man replied with tears in his eyes.
"No, but not because I don't want to marry her or I don't know how to hunt. In fact, I'm best and the strongest. Moreover, I love the princess more than any man there. But whenever I'm around people, I become so shy that my whole body begins to tremble and I'm unable to hunt."
The princess said to him,
"Then your princess will marry someone else, and you'll regret it for the rest of your life."
The young man sighed.
Oh, I wish I knew what to do.
The princess said,
"Allow me to find a solution."
The fateful day arrived, and all the suitors gathered at the hunting ground. The princess asked the king if she could hunt along with the other men. The king of the southern land reluctantly gave her permission. Once the contest began, 2 riders with their faces hidden under hoods and wearing clothes looking exactly the same were hunting at the same place. Late that evening, the winner of the hunting contest shook the dirt off his clothes and bowed to the king. He was one of the 2 hooded hunters, and he was the gamekeeper's son. The other hooded hunter left the hunting ground after losing the contest very early. The princess of the southern land came to see the winner of the hunting contest. The winner dismounted the horse and took off the hood that covered his face.
The people held a grand party for 7 days and 7 nights and celebrated the wedding of the king's daughter and the gamekeeper's son. Next, the princess went on a journey again, carrying with her the letters from the 3 kings that promised friendship with the land she headed for. This time, the princess went to a land in the west. In the palace of the western land, many men in soldiers' uniform were busy preparing for a war. Although the princess went to their king and delivered the letters, the king was too busy to read the letters or to greet the princess. The enemy troops were marching toward the palace, and it seemed that the war was about to begin. The princess left the palace and went to the enemy's camp. Soon, the princess met the commander of the enemy and asked him why the 2 lands had to fight against each other. The commander of the enemy said,
"The river here is very important for the lives of the peoples of both lands. But the people of that land blocked the river, so it no longer flows through our land. To have the river back in our land, we have no choice but to fight."
The princess said, "What if the 2 countries join and become one? In that case, no country will fight over the river." The commander of the enemy asked the princess,
"How can 2 lands angry at each other become one land?"
The princess answered, "Go to the palace of that land wearing your best clothes. You're a handsome man. The princess of that land is beautiful and wise. If you and the princess get married, the 2 lands will be united as one." The commander of the enemy asked again,
"How would I know the king of that land will let me marry his daughter?"
The princess said, "Allow me to find a solution." The princess went back to the palace of the western land. After a while, the gate of the palace opened, and the peoples of the 2 lands celebrated the marriage of the king's daughter and the commander for 7 days and 7 nights.